Hello and welcome to Phil But Flies. Back in February, I reviewed the initial release of iniBuild's Heathrow Airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can find a link to this review in the video description. While I found it to be a solid representation of the airport, it had several things that I felt should have been better. 5 months on, iniBuilds have released a version 2 of their scenery, with numerous improvements. In this video, I'm going to go back over the things I criticised in my first review and see which of them have been improved. You can read the full list of changes in the description down below. The biggest changes in the V2 update are all around Terminal 5A. In the initial release there was some interior modelling, but it was fairly lacklustre and bore little relation to the real airport. In version 2, Terminal 5A has a fully modelled departures level with a huge amount of detail. It looks really very good indeed. You can see just how much more immersive pulling up at one of these gates is in version 2. Terminals 5B and 5C have also been completely redone, and they have what iniBuilds describe as limited interiors, but to be honest I wouldn't want any more detail than this. I think that the interiors have everything you would expect to see. Needless to say, the weird black squares that you could see when looking through the glass from this angle are a thing of the past. I criticised this building at the end of Terminal 5C in my initial review, saying it didn't look much like the real thing. iniBuilds have made some improvements to it and the roof looks considerably better, but it still isn't a particularly accurate representation. It's also a bit disappointing to see that we still have very blurry, low resolution textures on the outside of it. I mentioned in my initial review how some of the textures seemed a little bit bright and cartoony, particularly the red brick textures around Terminal 3. This is still the case in my opinion, and they could do with toning down a little bit and perhaps having a bit of dirt added towards the bottom. Terminal 2 has had a complete going over. Gone are the opaque window textures, and they have been replaced with transparent glass and a partially modelled interior. This looks absolutely great. While I was impressed overall with the cargo terminal, I did find the textures to be slightly low resolution, and this is still the case. I didn't find much to criticise when it came to the ground textures. I thought these were very good overall, but nonetheless iniBuilds have made some improvements with the dirt around the stands, which to my mind looks a lot more realistic now. I was disappointed by the lack of Airside Roads in the initial release, and I'm pleased to see that iniBuilds have started to include these in version 2. For some reason though, they are faded compared with the surrounding white markings. I don't know why that is, it looks a little bit odd, but it's nice to have them here nonetheless. There are some areas where the roads are the correct shade of white, but unfortunately they just stop apropos of nothing, so I hope that iniBuilds will put a little bit more work into this in a future update. I mentioned in my initial review that there are many places around Heathrow where the airside roads go underneath the taxiways, but the scenery didn't feature any terraforming and the roads just stopped in a concrete wall, and unfortunately that's still the case, as you can see. Heathrow's night lighting has been completely transformed, not least here at Terminal 5. As you can see, it looks absolutely spectacular. Really lifelike both in terms of the apron floodlighting and in terms of the light that is coming out from the terminal building. It is absolutely breathtaking arriving here by night. And Terminals 5B and 5C are no less impressive. I was a bit disappointed by the resolution of some of the opaque window textures by night, and this hasn't changed. However, the overall night lighting around here at Terminal 3 looks quite a lot better, and I'm really pleased to see that there are actual light sources now. All of the floodlights have bulbs in. As do the ones at Terminal 4, which were just completely black until this update. There has been no change to the snow implementation, and the snow still entirely covers the runways. In conclusion then, iniBuild's Heathrow version 2 is a significant improvement on their initial release. Terminal 5 has been completely transformed and is now looking beautiful. The night lighting is much better across the airport. In fact, all of the most important flaws I found in my first review have been dealt with. Yes, there's still room for improvement, and I hope that there will be further updates, but while I initially recommended you buy this airport because it was better than the default, and because everyone needs a Heathrow, I'm now recommending you buy it because it's actually very good. Hats off to iniBuilds for putting in so much effort to improve things after release, and long may it continue. I hope you found this video useful. Do please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you did. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon here on Filbert Flies. Bye bye.